What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to yet another The Last of Us recap with the POV crew featuring one Alex Damon. My name is Jillian Marie. I will be running the circus today because Jake is not here to, reel us all in. So it'll be me doing my very best.
Yeah, he chose love. He chose
Yay.
love over The Last of Us. How dare
Look
Happy
at us.
Valentine's Day, everybody.
We're choosing love for this show.
We're choosing
Uh-huh.
love for this show.
We-
Molly's
we're
got her
choosing
husband
both.
here with her. My fiance's in the other room playing Apex. Happy Valentine's Day. But yes, we are back for another recap of what I will say a very, very, very heartbreaking and emotional episode, if I do say so myself.
Ugh.
Yeah,
It was a lot.
it was a lot.
This
It
show's
was a
putting
lot.
us through the ringer, I tell you what.
It was a lot. And now I will say, so I watched this episode later than the rest of the crew. And I saw the tweets. I saw the messages from you guys saying I need to get tissues ready. I watched like 99% of the episode. I'm going, this isn't that bad. I don't know what people are talking about. I've been okay. And then, the last 5 minutes happened and I had to lay down in silence for a solid 10 minutes. I don't
Yeah.
know how everyone else felt.
Even for us, having played the game, we knew what was coming. Didn't know exactly how they were going to do it on the show, and somehow they made it more sad. They added, was it leukemia? No,
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
they
leukemia.
added the fact that Sam had leukemia, and they added him being deaf,
And they made him younger.
and they made him younger.
Oh, heartbreaking. Oh, that's
Is-
heartbreaking.
Is Kathleen in the game too?
No.
No.
Okay.
I love all the stuff that they're adding first and foremost. But let's just dive right into it. Let's get into this episode. So first we are starting out in Kansas City, and there is a ruckus. There is a ruckus happening up in Kansas City. People are being dragged and hung, and it's a madhouse. Fedra is going down and the people are rising up. Kind of terrifying, but I get it. I understand. Maybe.
Sounds like a party.
I mean, a little terrifying.
I thought it was terrifying.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. I'm like, I was scared. Was anyone else?
I
did
mean,
anyone else find it terrifying?
Especially after all the riots we've seen happen the past couple of years and throughout our history, it hit a little too close to home.
Yes, yeah. It felt very real. These opening scenes, and we are introduced to the character of Kathleen. And I think one of the first tweets I sent to the group when I was watching the show is, fuck Kathleen. I'm like, I don't know if she's going to end up being a good person, but I hate her right now.
She's messed up.
What I want to know your initial thoughts of the intro of Kathleen in this episode, the whole her interrogating her doctor who apparently helped deliver her as a baby and is now being interrogated by this woman asking, she's trying to find certain people, and she's oddly calm with her
So I think
dialogue.
that's the episode 4.
Is that episode 4? Okay,
Yeah.
listen,
We
I
watched
watched
them
them
back to
back to
back, right?
back,
Yeah.
and so
I
I'm
was
like,
just
I
gonna
don't know
let
where
her
this
go
started
with
and when
it.
it began.
Well, it
So-
all kind of works because we jump back in time
Yes.
to see the initial riot, the outbreak, Fedra falling. I think that's all to show what Henry and Sam are up against. Like, those are the stakes. That's what's going to happen to you if you get caught.
Mhm.
But then Kathleen's, I think, introduction this episode is when she is asking all of the collaborators, "Where's Henry?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "I won't kill you if you tell me," which of course she does. But I've been really enjoying listening to the official podcast for this after every episode, and they said that they wanted Kathleen to feel like if a kindergarten teacher got
Yes.
control of
That's
Uh,
totally the vibes I'm getting from her too. Like, she's calm. She's talking to you in a soft, a little too sweet of a voice,
hmm
where it just makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
they were trying to say, like, everyone, no matter how sweet you were in the real world, like, everyone has that capacity for vengeance and violence.
Yeah. I love that they picked Melanie Lynskey to play this character after what we saw her do in Yellow Jackets, which I can't wait to.
I'm going to start watching it because it's free on Amazon right now.
But yeah, so aside from her character being awful, I love her performance. I love
Yes.
the character is unapologetically evil, like to their core, and they're just like, nope, I'm here to cause a ruckus.
And it's
That's
she's
what she said.
very-
That's her catchphase.
Yeah.
She kicks the
Cause a
door in. I'm
ruckus.
here to cause a ruckus.
Let's go.
I'm
Yeah,
Kathleen.
It's very like obviously even when she's talking to you, which is why when I was first introduced to her, I was like, I hate you right now, but I'm not sure if I'm supposed to hate you because I don't really know what your angle is at the moment. So it kind of left you going, is she a bad guy? Just because she seemed so sweet with how terribly she was talking to the people that she essentially imprisoned. I adored her performance. I thought she was spectacular.
I was bummed because I actually wanted her to stick around just a little bit longer.
I mean,
but I mean, the pace we're going, it was pretty obvious she wasn't going to be around probably
no.
past this one. But yeah, she was great.
What are you gonna do?
Great bad guy. Gal.
Brian, you asking if she's in the game? She's not, but I think that her addition in this story is really gonna make season 2 or whenever they get to telling part 2 the game. I think it's going to add a lot to it. Like they started to kind of explore some similar themes from the second game with her, and I really liked that aspect of the storytelling.
I mean, I always like this kind of trope with a lot of the post-apocalyptic kind of shows and movies that we get, is that the people, just the regular everyday people, are just as dangerous, if not more so, than, like the virus or the whatever that's going around.
Mm-hmm.
I always like that kind of aspect, which I feel like they might be going with in this kind of...
I'm trying to decide if I agree with you in the sense that are they as scary or are they scarier? Because in The Walking Dead, I agree. Like, we can take down those zombies all day, but the end of this episode with all of them like pouring out of that hole, I was like, no, that's terrifying.
But then again, that whole thing was kind of partially Kathleen's fault because she saw the cracks in the floor and that ish was going on, and she just decided to kind of, I'm not going to tell people, and I'm just going to bury it under the rug. So
the people are scarier in my opinion, just because they have free will. The zombies, once the virus takes them over, they're pretty much just live mushrooms trying to spread themselves.
Yeah, that's just nature.
And making out with people.
Yeah.
God, ew. We don't like that.
It's Valentine's Day. They just want love too.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, we'll find you a lovely spore-filled person, and
he was just trying to speed things up. He was actually doing her a favor.
That is true. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Gross. Now I'm just imagining
I'll stay single, thank you.
That gross scene with tats in the tongue. Anyway, gross. So in this episode, we are officially formally introduced to two characters of Henry and Sam, and we get to see how, in fact, that doctor did in fact know where they were this entire time, and how he helps them get into their little attic, and we're introduced to the two brothers. And I didn't realize that Sam wasn't deaf in the games, and I love that addition to it. I love that they also brought in a young deaf actor to play Sam.
Yeah,
he was so good.
He's so good. He was so cute. He was so cute. And I saw some behind the scenes stuff, and everyone was like, everyone learned ASL. Like, they picked up ASL so quickly, and they were all able to really like communicate with each other. It's like that's super cute. I love that. I want to know your guys' initial thoughts on Henry and Sam when we were introduced to them.
Horrified. Like, I was immediately starting to think, okay, well, episode 3, Bill and Frank's story did not end the way it ended in the game. So I was basically like, maybe it won't go the way I think it's going to go. Because all of the stuff with them in the attic, coloring, putting on the little like paint superhero mask, all of that just made it so much worse And I was just dreading the end of the episode. Like, maybe it won't happen. I had hope that they actually would just veer off and maybe they'll go their separate ways
Everything
and
will
they'll
be
live
fine.
happily ever after.
If only. If only they could be so kind to us.
I looked up the actor's name. The little kid's played by Kevon Woodard.
He's precious.
He's so precious. The little quick bits that they do after every episode, they showed him and the ASL teacher, I guess, because
I think they called him a coach.
Yeah, because they were coaching a lot of the other actors in this episode, and said that like a lot of them picked it up really quickly, and were like doing it all the time. And I was like, that's so great. It's so cool to see, even though it made it sadder. It's nice.
A little bit, yeah, just a little more heartbreaking.
Neil Druckmann talked about how Craig called him up and was like, I have this idea for Sam. What if we made him deaf? And he like listed off all these reasons, and Neil just got mad at him because he didn't think of it. And he was like, that would have been so great in the game. But the idea that there's like this extra level of Sam having to rely on Henry because he can't communicate with Joel and Ellie. It also makes Joel and Ellie kind of more outsiders, and Ellie has to make an effort to break in and be friends with Sam. And meanwhile, Joel is just sitting back and having to be hit by Ellie.
Yeah.
It's a really nice and horrible change at the same time.
He's such a grump.
He's always a grump. He's always going to be a grump.
Yeah, it takes him a long time to warm up to anyone. He's still warming up to Ellie.
But that's kind of his thing, is that he will not warm up. He keeps everyone at a distance.
Yeah. But even he was like, well, you could come with us. Like, even like he was kind of warming up to the idea of having, these two join them on their little journey.
Friends.
I know. We love friends.
I think he kept seeing how like excited and happy they were together, just being kids, just like looking at comic books, playing soccer indoors.
Exactly. And when Henry made that comment, when Sam was genuinely laughing, and Henry made the comment of, I haven't heard that in a long time. And it's like, oh, crushing. So crushing.
And the fact that they were like, Ellie and Sam were becoming little buddy friends.
I know.
Like, she was taking care of him and stuff. And then it's like, oh.
It was nice that they made him a little younger because of that. It made him looking up to her something that didn't really happen in the game. They were just more peers and friends. But I really liked that dynamic for them.
Mm-hmm. Now, I really liked how it explained the whole... Well, it explained, number one, why Kathleen was going after Sam in the first place. We got that whole backstory of how... and which Sam feels... on his end, feels incredibly guilty for what he did. But then he explains he had to give up Kathleen's brother in order to essentially save Sam and get the medication for his leukemia. I want to know your thoughts on all that. Because what would you do in that situation? Like, put yourself in a post-apocalyptic world. Would you give up somebody that everyone in the town admires to save your little sibling? I certainly would. I don't know about you guys. I'd be like, yeah, here you go.
Alex is an only child. I fought with my sibling for a long time, so I don't know.
Alex is like, kill them all. Doesn't matter.
Oh no!
I think based off of things that happened later on that I will talk about, I think I would absolutely save Sam in a heartbeat. Like,
how could you not? He's a precious baby boy. I would save him in a heartbeat. It's that I love how they're adding, and I always love these in these type of shows. Like I said, the real life scenarios of like this fantasy world, essentially, of how people have to make like real decisions. What would you do in this, this type of thing? And it's freaking heartbreaking, but they end up becoming buddies. This group, this ragtag group of Grumpy Joel and Ellie, and the two brothers. And so they come up with this grand scheme of a plan to escape Kansas City by going into fancy tunnels.
Secret tunnels.
Secret tunnels, which supposedly Fedra has cleared out. There's no more of the infected. Now, as soon as they said that, I went, did they
Well, so
though?
did they. Even Joel and Ellie were like,
And
no.
he's like, did they though? Have you checked? Did you go down there yourself? But they went down and everything seemed fine and dandy, other than the floor cracking into the abyss. But they didn't see that, so everything looked fine. And then, of course, as soon as they escape, they start getting sniped at.
Well, before we get there, I really want to take a break and talk about the room where they play soccer, where they read the comics.
Yes.
That is one of my favorite segments of the game, weirdly.
Talk about it.
So, and I just appreciate that they took a little time to kind of nod to it. Do you remember the picture of our protectors? And it was Ish and Danny. They see like a child's drawing.
Little drawing on the
The
wall.
superheroes?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
So Ish is a kind of character in the game where you find notes. That's kind of how you get a lot of storytelling throughout the game, is you find notes from other people. And before you go into the tunnels, you find a note from this person named Ish. And it's about how he was like living on his boat out in the middle of the ocean for a while while the fungus took over, but he had to come to shore. He finds this place in the tunnels, sets things up for himself, but he's like, I'm lonely. And he goes out and he finds a family with kids and he like invites them in, and he kind of builds this little community with kids where everyone can be safe. And then of course it all falls apart, and it's worse in the game reading about it. But then Ish and like one other person survive. And you find his note outside of the tunnels and you're like, man, but that whole story is one of the most memorable things in the game for me. So the fact that they just gave a little nod to Ish, I really, really liked that.
So he made it out in the
Yes.
game. Yeah, that's...
So in the game, does no zombies show up in the tunnels?
Oh, that's completely different. So
Okay.
there are quite a few differences from the game in this episode. Again, like the broadest of strokes, it really, really works. Like Henry doesn't need Joel to escape. Also, Henry's not like an enemy of the state. He's just someone else that wandered into Pittsburgh and all the raiders are trying to kill him. So they're like, let's team up. And Henry's like killing people right alongside you. Then let's see. They just go through the tunnels basically after they escape Pittsburgh. And then there's tons of zombies. And there's a really fun part where Ellie and Henry get separated from Joel and Sam. So you don't have Ellie, and now you're protecting Sam, which I thought was really fun.
I like that.
And then you get on the other side of the tunnels and you get into the suburbs, and then the sniper thing. That is all like straight from the game.
That was really cool because I vividly remember that part in the game where you're playing as Joel and you're doing exactly what he was doing. You're up in this house shooting out of a window while Ellie is like running around trying not to get bit.
God.
And it's
Like,
very stressful.
All of the Pittsburgh Raiders, that sounds like a football team. They catch up to you in the suburbs and they attack. Some infected attack. It's not nearly as intense as the show, but it is that. And even they built that whole street. The building that you're sniping from is like the same building. It's really cool.
Oh, that's rad. I love all I love all the tie-ins, but I also love how they are really making the show its own at the same time, which I am absolutely adoring every second of it. Although I feel like they were like, how can we just crush the souls of every single person who was watching this show? Because the amount of tissues I will be going through from sobbing my eyes out watching this series, I'm sure is going to be plenty of boxes. But no, I do really like, I really loved that the scenes of them in that little, it was essentially looked like kind of like a daycare school little area that they were in.
Yeah.
The comic they read is also a collectible in the game.
Oh, that's so cute.
Endure and Survive. That's from the game.
I also love how
little
they just absolutely
catchphrase.
made fun of that title. They were like,
Yeah.
kind of redundant. That's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Neil Druckmann said that he knew he wanted this comic to be a collectible in the game, and that there are you can read the synopsis on the back of every one. And he's like, I need like a pulpy, catchy comic book thing that it can have for the catchphrase. And he was like, endure makes sense. Or maybe he was like, well, endure or survive made sense for the world. And then he just went to thesaurus.com and put that in. And he was like, endure and survive. Yes.
Endurance. That works. Boom, done. No, that scene, it was super cute. It was super, they got to take a break and just, kind of be normal essentially for even a short amount of time. Now, what's sad is I think all of the infected that poured out of that hole in the ground were the people that were staying in that, that residence that they had essentially once created in the underground. Something happened because I'm pretty sure they were the ones who were piling out of that.
How'd they all get down there? Because it didn't look
They
like
seemed-
that many people could have lived down there, but maybe.
I don't think
It seemed
all of those infected were from that community, but it makes sense that when they died, they would have joined that.
They would have gone
group.
with the. Ugh. That's so sad.
it almost kind of seemed like they were like just buried alive. Well, alive. But
I mean,
just the way they
maybe.
kind of like popped out of the ground. It just seemed not that I'm nitpicking. I could care less. But it just seemed like they just appeared like out of the ground, kind of. Like I know they were in that.
Snow.
I know they. Well, I know that they were in the ground thing that it kept like bubbling up and whatnot.
Maybe
But
they were buried alive. Like maybe
I don't know.
Maybe they took people that were infected or they thought were infected, and instead of just like burning them alive, they were like, let's just build a floor over them.
I mean, the
Yeah.
last thing I would want to do with plant people would be to bury them.
Put them in fertile soil.
That's probably
Right?
not the smartest thing to do. But, to each their own, I guess.
Yeah.
Probably not the best idea.
Well,
to bury
so
them.
I think all the infected they genuinely were driven underground by Fedra. And then I think those tunnels were cleared out by Fedra. But then 10 days ago, Fedra fell. And we saw Kathleen as like, I don't care about anything right now until I get Henry.
Until we
her just like single drive to get Henry meant the downfall of all of her people. And then we see all the infected just running towards Kansas City at the end. Like Kathleen killed all of them.
Choices were made, Kathleen.
And then
Choices were made.
was his name Perry, the character that's with her, who is actually
with the gorgeous beard.
Yeah, he is the voice actor for Tommy in the game.
Oh, I love that.
He got fucked up.
Oh, I was the second the bloater came out and started to like kind of stomp towards Perry, I was like, do the thing. He's gonna do it. And it got to Perry. That is the kill animation for if a bloater reaches you in the game, it grabs you by the head and just rips you apart.
Like Mortal Kombat style.
Yeah. So weirdly, I was thrilled to see that.
I'm not gonna lie.
Perry though.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of upset that he got killed off because he was giving me kind of giving me like Daryl Dixon vibes a little bit, and I'm totally into that. So I was like, oh, I kind of wish we got to see maybe more of a storyline with him, but he got his skull torn off from his spine, so that's not gonna happen now. But as soon as like you could tell that something big was gonna come out of that horde because it was just built up, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be a bloater, isn't it? And then I got so excited because they used practical makeup for it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
or at least a reference.
Yeah.
Look at how absolutely freaking gorgeous that is. Like chef's kiss. Do they have makeup awards for television shows?
I think
like
so.
at the
Visual
Golden
effects.
Globe?
Visual effects, yeah.
Visual effects, because good lord.
This
Stunning.
is the guy, the same guy did all of these.
Oh my god. The same guy who did Vecna and Game of Thrones, and goodness.
Yeah. Give
10
him
out of
all
10.
of the visual effects awards
Give him
because
all of the awards.
using practical effects and makeup like that is so much more rewarding, and it just has such a bit better payoff in the end.
Good. It looks so good. I remember and even at the beginning of the series, the first time that like when Ellie got real close, to the clicker, and I was like, oh, that's practical makeup. I was stoked because yes, anything digital now has gotten to the point where like you can use it for anything and it's really good, but you can still tell.
Yeah.
So when it's practical, I just get so freaking excited, and I'm so glad that they're using practical effects for Last of Us because it looks stunningly gorgeous. But real quick, I do want to get into a couple of super chats that we've gotten. First one from Mr. Tim Sim. Thank you as always, Tim. Episode 5 in a nutshell. A thrilling, emotional, tension-filled roller coaster that ends with an elephant-sized amount of pain. I concur. I concur.
Mhm.
I'm still very much heartbroken from this episode. And
I'm
one from
realizing
Mr.
that
Shu.
I
Go
think
ahead.
every odd number episode, that's the one where you're going to cry. It was
Noted.
Sarah in episode 1, Bill and
yeah.
Frank episode 3, Sam episode 5, 7
Well,
and 9. Yeah, just
At least they're keeping up with a pattern, I guess, so I could be kind of mentally and emotionally prepared. Watch, next
Well,
episode's going to be terrible.
Well, wait. Someone's died every episode, right? Sarah 1, Tara 2. Who's 3?
Bill and Frank.
Bill and Frank.
The only characters in the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. 4. Who died in 4? Anyone?
The doctor.
The doctor, whatever. Okay.
I mean, not really like a character that we've known, but like
Yeah.
somebody.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
like
then
a ton of people die in 4.
So many people die.
So
and-
basically, just don't get attached to anyone. That's
Don't
the
get attached
moral
to
of this. Yeah.
And super chat from Mr. Shu. Kathleen is based. That is all. Yeah, Kathleen can go. Yeah, I was not at all sad when Kathleen got chomped on.
Oh man, she went out in such a glorious way.
Oh
too.
yeah, the child clicker.
It was. Oh my god.
So
See, that's
creepy.
why because it was a
No.
child. That's why I was going. Oh, are these the people that were in like the little like school? Because it was a child.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So obviously there was children in that area. But
I like
I
that they
love that-
had her go after Ellie first in the car, and
I
then
Oh, that was so creepy.
out.
Ellie got
That
away, and then
car.
she went after Kathleen, and Kathleen was just like, "Oh my god."
Well, I like that Perry's final moments. He saw the bloater and he told Kathleen, he was like, "Run, get out of here, find cover," and she still didn't. Like that was her
Yeah.
thing. And she just even with everything falling apart, she's like, "I have to kill Henry." That's
Like,
all she cared about.
I get
to the
wanting
end.
revenge, but was it worth your own life, Kathleen?
Molly,
Obviously
I
not.
started while
I
you
like
clicked
that.
it at the same time.
Died
For
by
our
a
audio
child
listeners, she
after
died by a child after she said she doesn't care if a child dies. If that's not pure poetry, I don't know what is. I don't know.
I
what
think they
is.
know what they're doing on this show.
I think so. I think they've got it on lock. I think they're doing all right. Real quick, another super chat for one Tim Sim. Thank you so much again, Tim. Some MCU Star Wars fans are now angrier than ever at demanding more practical effects like bloaters and clickers than CGI. I don't blame
Yeah,
them.
put bloaters and clickers in Star Wars, and
We want bloaters and clickers in Star Wars.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what
to
that
be
means.
fair, really, other than the volume, all of the alien species, for the most part, in like Mando and all the new series that we're getting, are practical makeup.
Wait, Frog Lady's not a real person?
I'm sorry to break your heart, Brian. But no,
I mean,
that's
it's
all.
practical.
I mean, it's not a real person, but it's practical makeup. Yeah, the frog
Yeah.
lady was all practical makeup, except obviously when she's jumping on all fours, they're gonna use CG for that. But yeah, everything recently with Star Wars and all of their creatures are practical makeup, from what I've noticed anyway, which I'm loving. I'm loving that that's really coming back in full force.
Yeah.
All the practical effects, because good lord, I was tired of so many CG stuff. Too much.
Okay, so I have a question that I've been sitting on for Alex. Bloaters, are they just fat people, or like what?
They've been infected for a long period of time.
Yes,
Like,
I believe is
but
their deal.
they also I only knew this because of the podcast, and I was like, oh, that's something new I learned. It's not fat, it's like big people, just strong people that it takes a long time for the fungus to totally take over their body. Like a lot of clickers, when the fungus gets them enough, they will eventually die. They'll lie down next to a wall and just the fungus grows off of them. But if the fungus just can't overtake the person, then they turn into a bloater.
So you're telling me Chris Hemsworth would end up being a bloater if he was to get...
Yeah. That's why like every bloater, I mean, really every bloater is just the same model in the game, but they're all big and tall and
they're all
scary
big and strong
imposing.
and beefy.
Yeah.
The bloater in this episode didn't actually do the gross thing that I thought it was going to do.
Please explain to the class the gross thing, Molly. I'm dying.
Okay, so let me bring up the picture again. I don't know which one of these would be better. Probably this one. So like there's a bunch of little like bubbles on its like stomach.
Oh yeah. They look like like algae kind of deal.
Yeah. And so
You
they
didn't
look
want
like
to say
they
sea
have
anemone?
Anemone.
they look like they have little openings, and basically in the game those things shoot out spores of the virus, and it is gross.
It will rip it off of its body and throw them at you.
Ew, like a grenade?
Yeah.
Ew.
And so Ellie mentioned them in episode 2 when she was talking about rumors of the ones that see like a bat, and she said something about, are there ones that pull their own spores off and throw them at you? And Tess was like, God, I hope not.
Oh
But
God.
that's what bloaters do.
Now I need to see it though. I don't want to see it, but now I need to see it.
I'm good. No, thank you.
So like Alex, you were freaking out because he was about to pull that guy's head off, which I agree, that was scary, but I was like, when is he gonna do the even grosser thing? And I'm glad that they didn't.
I'm surprised they didn't. I guess it would be kind of weird. People might be like, wait, what? But Ellie did bring it up, so maybe they're saving that.
Yeah, they might still show it.
Ugh. That's no thanks.
Yeah.
That's a pass. I thought you were going to say it like gives you a bear hug or something, and
I mean, it might do that too.
I don't even know. Ugh.
It's funny. I don't know what they're gonna show in season 1, but I'm like, bloaters are at this point, that's far from the worst thing.
God,
Mm-hmm.
I'm upset
sure.
because I've played the beginning of the game, but like there's even with that, there's so much stuff that I've completely forgotten about, and it's like and yes, Tim, my plan is to play the game after this season is over, because once the season is over, I think I'm gonna replay and finish it and do the whole thing and do all the comparisons with it. But now all I'm thinking about is a bloater peeling pieces of its thing off and throwing it at you. Thanks, Molly.
You're welcome. Happy Valentine's Day.
Gross. Happy Valentine's Day. Here you go. So I know we are avoiding the conversation of the ending parts of this episode, where the little crew, they escape the tunnels, they feel like they've gotten out free and clear, they start getting sniped at. Joel, as he does best, goes up and sneakies in there and apprehends the guy. Was very nice, was just trying to get him to give up the gun, and was like, I don't want to hurt you, but then the guy was dumb, and so Joel had to end up shooting the guy. But then Kathleen and all her little buddies come out, and ish happens. She dies. Heads get ripped off. Bloaters come out. They don't throw things at you, but it's still gross, and it's bleh. And we learn later in the evening, when they are safe in their little hotel room, that little Sam has gotten bit by an infected.
So sad.
Gross.
Oh, my heart immediately shattered. And of course, Ellie is she's, at this point, they've known each other for such a short period of time, but she is acting like a protective older sister to Sam, I feel like, at this point. And the first thing she does is, my blood is medicine. She cuts her hand, and the first thing my fiance Sean says is, that's not how any of this works. And I'm like,
I was hopeful.
She's just trying to give him hope, Sean.
So was I.
Again, I was like,
oh.
maybe.
Me too. I was like, stop it. You never know. You never know what could happen.
Well, Ellie's so young, she doesn't even know how it works, why she's immune. So it makes sense to me that she would try that, because they're both still kind of kids. And she's like, well, I should at least try this, right?
Yeah.
And
I don't blame her.
Turns out it doesn't work, which is...
That's not how that works, unfortunately. And then we go to the next morning, and Sam is sitting at the end of the bed, and Ellie goes to get his attention, and he has turned, and my heart sunk.
That last couple of minutes of the episode, they were like so scary and like nerve-wracking and fast and like sad. Everything happened so quickly.
There was so much subtle dialogue in that last like 5 to 10 minutes that really hit home with how absolutely emotional this ending was. Like, for example, Sam asks Ellie, or I believe he's asking Ellie, when you turn, do you know what's happening? Like, is it still the person that's in there? And so, of course, my heart's breaking because I'm reading online, Alex, I'm sure you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but at the beginning stages of being infected, the fungus is just attacking your nervous system. It's not really attacking your brain. So you are very much cognizant of what's happening, but you cannot control it. Correct?
In the Last of Us podcast, they confirmed that. They just straight up said that Craig and Neil were like, eventually when you're a clicker, there's nothing left of you or your brain. But in the early stages, Sam's probably still in there, but just can't control himself.
But he's a monster now.
God. And then, of course, throughout the entirety of this episode, Henry is saying how he has never really personally killed somebody. Yes, he has given somebody up who was eventually killed, but he himself has never killed anybody. And the first person he ends up killing is the one person he has been protecting during all of this. Writers in the writer room, I don't know what you're doing, but oh my God, my heart, you've succeeded in absolutely crushing me as a human being. Oh my God. And just like I said, the subtleties of the discussions that they had through the last 5-10 minutes of the episode so hit home in those moments. And what was everyone's thoughts during all this?
I could really like what'd you say, Brian?
I said I screamed when Sam jumped off the bed.
Oh yeah.
God.
Yeah. It scared the crap out of me.
I was right there with Joel. I was like, I don't know what I would do in that situation except like beg Henry to give me the gun, because you could see like his mind go into that place.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, what have I done? What have I done? Like, and he goes and turns the gun on himself. That part was just, and Ellie has like an insane reaction to seeing that, and I'm just like, this
don't blame her.
This poor group of people.
God.
The reaction Henry has, like, he goes through even more mood changes in the game where he starts pointing the gun at Ellie and Joel and says it's their fault that Sam got bit, but then it ends the same way. That I'd be interested to hear in what other ideas they had, because they said they did consider different endings for how this could have gone, but they decided to stick with the game in every way. Like
they considered maybe having them stay alive, different endings.
Yeah, maybe both of them, maybe just Henry. I don't know. But they said they discussed, and they didn't want to get into what the other options were, but they were like,
yeah,
they thought that the way that the game went was the best version for the story that they're telling.
Because they have to, I mean, Henry could have gone with them and continued with them, but they have to continue the story and get it to a certain place by the end of the season. So I get it.
Yeah, I wish it didn't happen that way, personally, because I got so attached to those two in the short time we had with them. Kathleen, obviously, she can get her head bit off by a child clicker for all I care. I was not at all emotional about that one, but God, as soon as I saw the little bite on his ankle, heart on the floor.
I think it's a testament to the writers and both actors that the whole time I knew what was going to happen, and I was like, don't get attached, but I immediately got attached. And I was like, couldn't help it. It's still so gut wrenching.
Well, and it's interesting because while, like we've talked about, while it's still very true to the game, there is a lot of things that are different as well. So realistically, sure, we can know what happens, but do we really? Like, like, because like you said, they were considering
Mhm.
one of them survive. So who knows if there's going to be another character down the line who dies in the video game, but they decide to keep along for the ride.
Yeah,
It's going to be
maybe.
interesting. It's going to be interesting. I always love the discourse, especially like with you, Alex, and with anyone else who's played the entirety of the game, seeing their reaction to everything and how, they're loving the differences, and even if they know it's going to happen, it's still a million times more heartbreaking than they thought. And God, yeah, these writers deserve all the awards.
It kind of reminded me of watching The Red Wedding. But like,
Yes,
I read those
Yes!
books. I knew it was coming, and it was executed so well that it was still horrible.
yes.
I didn't know what the hell was happening when that went down. I was
The Red Wedding.
screaming. Yes. I'll never
Yeah.
forget that ever in my life.
And I'd never read the books, but I was very, very far behind in Game of Thrones, like to the point I didn't watch it live until the final season, so I just binged everything. So I knew about the Red Wedding, and even then it was, heart-wrenching. But this is very much in the same pathway, and I part of me is kind of saying even more so. I think this is even more emotionally wrecking, in my opinion.
I haven't seen pretty much anyone that played the game complain about what they've done, changed, anything. If anything, I think they like the changes that is keeping them slightly more on their toes. I mean, Alex, you can definitely talk to that, because I mean, I'm just going along with the story, and so far the story's been great. But everyone seems to be that played it. I mean, usually, no matter what it is, it's like, it didn't happen like that in the game, or it didn't happen like that in the comics.
In the book,
no one's really doing that in this.
No.
They're like, oh, this changed a little bit, but it was still like really a good change.
Yeah.
They're
So-
keeping very, very true to the spirit of the story. I mean, there are things I think we talked last episode about how I liked Ellie's first kill in the game. I kind of liked how it went down in the game more, but they have to adapt things. There's a moment from the Henry and Sam segment in the game that I really enjoy, but they couldn't do it in this, and they're still getting so much of it in. There's this really cool part where like Joel is helping boost them over a wall or a truck or something, and he gets Henry and Sam and Ellie up there, and then the Raiders show up, and Henry says, we got to go. Like, I have a chance for safety. And he takes Sam and he runs and he leaves Joel. And then Ellie says, what the fuck, Henry? And then jumps back down to stay with Joel. And she's like, we're staying together. And it's like a really nice moment for them. But, you can only do so much.
And I feel like with the television show, I feel like their bonding is just going to be a bunch of emotional trauma. Like,
yeah.
No, you can't quite bond over.
That's accurate.
God, just emotional trauma bonding. That's what's going to happen with this series, I feel.
The one part I also liked in the show that we didn't talk about was the sniper scene. Like, that was nice and intense. And then when he gets into the clock tower, it's like, don't do it. And you're sitting there like, this motherfucker's gonna do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And this old guy's an idiot.
And the podcast, they said that guy knew what he was doing, and he's like 80, and he's like, I've seen too much. I'm tired. Put me out of my misery. Like,
I'm done. Well, he wasn't even a good shot anyway. So why'd they put him up there? He doesn't know how to shoot a sniper. Put someone up there with absolutely no aim.
He's 80 years old. Give the man a break.
I think he was just the last one left in that house and was like, well, I guess I'll shoot at these people.
I think his real job was getting on the walkie, and he did that.
Yep. Yeah. That's your job. Real quick, another.
Couldn't get back down the stairs. Let's be honest.
Yeah, he probably struggled. He needed one of those like little like the little elevator chairs that go down the stairs.
That is my dream to have one of those.
Right?
To have a 2-story house. The ones where you just sit down. And
you just sit down and it goes, and you're sitting.
Yeah.
Like at the age you are now.
Yes.
Yes. 100%.
Oh, that reminds me, Brian. When would you have died this episode?
Yes.
Oh, multiple times. I would have been like, oh, look at the little kid. Trying to think. How did it start? It started
Starts with the riot, but
I probably for sure would have been one of those people that got rounded up.
Brian gets caught in the crossfire. Brian's totally innocent, but he just gets caught in the crossfire. And
well, no, I think I would have been one of the people that just couldn't keep their mouth shut and then got caught up with Kathleen. So that probably would have been the first one.
Okay, then what did you collaborate for? What did you get in return?
Yeah.
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
Probably I was going to say snacks. Probably snacks, honestly.
For snacks.
The very first thing when I started this show, when I realized that the food or the virus was in like basically carbs, I was like, I'm done.
I'm done.
The virus was right? Oh my god. Well, there was that tweet going around, like I mentioned the other episode, was like, if this was an actual thing, what's the one carb that would have given you the virus?
Yeah, 100%. I would have just been like, it's probably not that bad. And then just like, yeah.
How bad could it be?
Yeah, it probably got burnt off in the oven, and no,
being a fungus sounds fine to me.
100%.
It's like scraping off the mold of a piece of bread. You're
whatever.
Like,
It off.
You rip off the piece. It's fine now.
Yeah.
Magically gone. Another super chat from Tim Sim, real quick. Thank you again, Tim. I have a friend in the medical community I sometimes hang with since switching from pre-med. Told me the ending spooked him because he heard stories like that in the height and later years of COVID, and he hasn't played the game. I mean, I've kind of talked about just the idea of, you know, this virus actually being a real thing, because cordyceps is a real thing. Look it up. It's an insects. It's an individual sect of cordyceps per insect. It's actually really, really interesting. And they talk about it in the beginning of the series where it does burn off in a certain temperature that's too hot for humans. But what if in like 200 years they evolve where they can survive?
Well, that's those
Crazy
people's problem, because I'll be dead by then. So,
so anyone who's gluten-free, y'all are safe. Y'all are safe from this craziness. Did we get another super chat? Is that what I think? Oh,
yeah. So you can save that for the very, very end.
Oh, save that one. Okay, just kidding. We'll save that.
I'm scanning through it, Alex, and nothing really like crazy happens until the sniper. I would have probably for sure been like the person they're like hiding and been like, "Oh, you guys, look, the sniper's right there," and then just done. Yeah,
found it.
Like, it's right there. Yeah.
I would have broken my leg going down the stairs into the tunnels. That's how I would have. Yeah. That's how I go out.
I would have stayed in those tunnels.
I just wouldn't have left. They've got to have some kind of snack in there, right? They got to have something. Some Twinkies. Something going on. Some packed lunch that some kid didn't finish. There's got to be stuff down there. You could scavenge.
I mean, it's pretty much a guaranteed that I would go out during that once the horde shows up. That's not happening.
Yeah.
That just seemed like utter chaos.
Yeah. I don't know if I would even run if I was there. Would I like run in fear, or would I just be like, well, it's been a good run. Just accepted my fate.
I would have tried to run, but then it would have also been the whole running part too. That's the problem.
The whole running.
They're gonna be faster than me. Easily.
That's what's terrifying.
You don't have to be faster than them. You have to be faster than the next slowest person.
Oh,
yeah, whoever's behind you.
In front of me, I'm gonna
sling them back.
Yep.
I mean, that's true. It's gotta be faster than the slowest person. Then you're home free.
Mm-hmm. Walk around with a lot of sticks that you can just trip people.
Is that what you're gonna do for the entire apocalypse, Brian? Just walk around with sticks?
Yeah, I'm just
I'll have marbles in my
sticks.
I'll have marbles in my pocket.
A banana peel.
Pocket marbles.
I'm going to Kevin McAllister everyone around me.
That's my purse. I don't know you.
Blake, I should be able to outrun the two kids. Kids are fast as hell. Are you kidding me? Did you see her leap off the damn truck?
They're also made of rubber.
Yeah, it's just like a
kids are made of rubber.
Yeah, so they don't get hurt very easily.
Yeah.
Oh,
they take a hit and keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I was not made of rubber.
You're made of glass.
Definitely. Yep, I have glass. I have paper skin. Glass bones, paper skin. Every morning I break my legs. Do we want to get to Tim's?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's hit Tim's.
Tim Super Chat.
This is a good
Now
one.
that we are at the halfway point of the season, is it too early to say that The Last of Us, especially season 1, is now the new standard for adapting video games to movies and TV shows? I think it's probably the best that I've seen.
I don't know if it's the standard, but it should be the standard.
Yeah.
Yeah. It always, I mean, it depends on a case by case basis, I think. Like if there are good reasons to change the story from the game to the show, I don't mind it. But I do like how they're taking things from the game for this show and sticking to them, but adding even more little bits to make it better for the people who know what are going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think hopefully this is kind of a turning point, like for video game adaptations, where for a while, comic book movies would be just kind of okay, and then occasionally a great one would come out, but people started to take the genre more seriously, like producers, people who were behind the content, and be like, oh, these can be really good. And I feel like video game adaptations have just been stuck in the no one really takes them seriously era for a while.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. The Resident Evil adaptations always just baffled me, where they were basically like, as long as zombies are in it, then who cares?
Not
like
how
that.
any of that works. No.
So even like the Raccoon City Resident Evil, the most recent version, so cheesy, but
Garbage.
I liked it more than the older stuff. I mean, we got drunk and watched it, and I was like, this is great.
Garbage.
But
yeah,
the best.
Yeah, it was fun garbage. Yes,
that's the best.
And they
sometimes
had, like,
you just
fun
gotta
little
root
nods,
around
so.
the garbage. It's fun.
Yeah, but Last of Us is hopefully showing people that, like, oh, maybe we should take video game storytelling seriously and actually get people who like the source material to adapt it.
Mm-hmm.
I've always not understood why film companies don't hire video game writers, because those are some of the best writers. Like, I'll play a video game and be like, holy crap. Like,
or at least have them collaborate with TV and film writers so that they can adapt it appropriately.
Yeah. And they don't need to do it every time for every video game. Like Sonic's doing. I love the two Sonic movies.
Sonic's great.
Those are clearly not.
I liked Detective Pikachu. I think I don't know if I'm in the minority in that, but I liked Detective Pikachu. I thought it was cute. I thought it was fun.
I haven't seen any of these.
I'm just listening to Brian growl. Yeah, I haven't seen any of those either.
I liked it. I'm pretty hyped for the new Super Mario movie that's coming out. That looks fun. That looks pretty good.
It's like a lot of those aren't really adaptations of stories. Like
it's more they have the intellectual property.
Yeah. Sonic doesn't have a whole lot of story to it, at least like the old games. But
Now, I've never played them, but I feel like if they were gonna do a show in the The Last of Us is doing, the Uncharted games should have been like that.
Sure, that'd be a blast.
Yeah,
I mean, and I don't hate the movie by any means. It's nowhere near as good as The Last of Us. I'm just kind of a sucker for an Indiana Jones style adventure, no matter what.
Yeah.
It's a fine movie, but I would say it did not live up to the games.
Yeah, I think it could have been. It had a lot more potential had they not cast Tom Holland, because Tom Holland is too busy to do any more of those movies, probably. So, like, I feel like if they had cast someone else, they could have stretched it out a bit.
Yeah,
and had plans to make it better. And
Tom didn't feel very much like Nate. Mark Wahlberg, not so much Sully. Also, they did this weird thing where they took like highlights from each game and put it into the movie, which was like a prequel to the other stories. And then at the end, they teased that the next movie, if it happens, will be the first game. And I'm like, you already did that thing from the first game.
Talked about it.
So weird.
Yeah.
I think our friend Keith said they even pulled stuff from like the fourth video game.
Mm-hmm. Like they pulled stuff from like all of them.
I think my big, while like Last of Us obviously is right now, I think everyone can agree the pinnacle of video game adaptations ever. my concern with that is now people are going to go, oh, it's cool to do video game movies now, and they're going to come out with a bunch of ones that they think they can do, and it's going to be hot garbage. So I'm hoping that this doesn't start like a train of just, let's make all the video game adaptations we possibly
Probably
can.
will.
I
That's
hope
what
it
it
not.
does.
100% will. Yeah.
They did that with comic book movies.
They did, I
They
know.
started it, and now it's like comic book movies or movies based on comic book characters are like the biggest blockbusters ever.
Yeah. But it's like now I can't even think of really a series that they can really appropriately adapt in the same way they're doing The Last of Us. People in the chat have been saying Red Dead Redemption, I think could be probably
sure.
a really cool way to do that, similar in the way The Last of Us is.
The Spider-Man PlayStation game is really good. They should make a Spider-Man movie.
They should.
Yeah.
They should make a Spider-Man.
Why is no one
film.
making Spider-Man movies?
They should make one with
It's
that
a no-brainer,
Miles.
really.
They should make one with that Miles Morales guy. Man, they should. See
The one that
sequels
I
coming out,
have
very
been,
excited.
and I know it's coming, but I'm terrified that they're going to screw it up, is BioShock. That's my favorite game.
BioShock, if they were to do BioShock, I think it would be better.
They are doing it.
Are they? Is it a movie or TV
Netflix
series?
has it, I think.
A movie or a television
I think they're
series?
doing it. Oh, is it a series? I thought it was
Oh,
TV.
is it a movie?
Or
I thought it was a series. I don't know. Sorry,
'Cause I think
I got Brian way too excited.
Because I adore BioShock. It's one of my
Film.
favorite.
Damn it.
Okay.
I wanted
Okay,
it
sorry.
to be a
Is it a
TV show.
movie?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's a movie. Okay.
BioShock. This is the thing that with video games, some need to be TV shows so you can put the amount of time, and some of them can be made into movies. BioShock needs to be a TV show.
I was going to say BioShock needs to be a series.
There is too much to put into a movie, and Netflix is just going to rush it. What I just saw it too. Someone said I don't know. I haven't played Fallout, but I know that one's coming, and
Fallout would
hyped
also
about
be
it.
a good television. It would make a good
God of
television
War
series.
is coming. I think
Is
they're
that
doing another
good?
Tomb Raider. So yeah, there are already a lot of game adaptations on the way.
Oh,
They
I
should
hope-
do Outlast and make a spooky movie.
That'd be great.
Well, BioShock would be terrifying because BioShock's going to be scary. I would imagine. I would hope they make it terrifying because splicers are freaking
Yeah.
horrific.
I never played the Mass Effect games, but I heard those are quite popular.
Those have great stories.
Hmm.
I could see those being movies. Like, I think a series would be more interesting to really explore every character, but
I think the people that did The Expanse could do Mass Effect
yeah.
justice.
yeah, that'd look good.
They're asking for a "You Suck at Parking" adaptation now. I think that would be
Why not?
absolutely prime.
That's
Okay,
called The Fast and the Furious.
Boom. It's already out. There you have it. They're making another one.
I didn't realize Amazon had Fallout. That
Oh.
makes me a little bit more hopeful. 'Cause
Interesting.
Amazon doesn't.
They got that
screw
big
around.
money. They got
Yeah.
that rings of power money.
Daddy Bezos is.
They got
just
that
like,
Bezos money.
Yeah.
But it'll
Take
be it's going to be really interesting to see how all the critical acclaim of this is going to be when it comes to video game adaptations. It's going to be really interesting to see the discourse. I kind of have a feeling it's going to go on the same, popularity train as those superhero comic book movies. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see where this will take us. But right now, I am absolutely enjoying the ish out of The Last of Us. I'm going to
I
have
like
to
how
buy
much you keep saying ish
the ish.
for this episode. It's,
Yeah.
The ish. Sorry, I mean I can say an absolute shit out of this.
no, I
episode.
like it because
think-
ish was in the episode, kind of.
Oh, you're welcome. I keeping that Easter egg still going. But
You know what one is coming too that I forgot about is Borderlands.
series
Well,
or
that's a movie.
or
That's a
movie?
movie. That's a movie.
There's a lot, so we're gonna be seeing a lot of freaking video games. So we're probably gonna get sick of them real quickly.
When is Zelda coming? How has that not been done yet?
The protagonist never speaks.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the main reason why is because Link doesn't talk.
So make him talk.
No, because then that's a whole
That's
other
not
discourse
faithful
you have
to
to
the
deal
game.
with.
The discourse around a possible talking Link in a
Link.
Zelda series, I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I don't
Why?
think people even want to touch that. Yeah,
Then make him deaf.
they
Okay.
could do that.
Why
That
not?
doesn't fix every problem.
No, but
Mm,
that's a way you
I mean,
could
just
do
make
it.
the character just go, "Hiya." That's all he has to do.
And break some pots every now and then. You
Yeah.
know, whatever. But
Yeah,
I am until we get to see all those absolutely terrible video game adaptations in the future. Maybe good ones, we don't know. I'm gonna keep enjoying The Last of Us because
Mhm.
every single episode has been absolutely spectacular. I feel like it just I think this is the best episode on television, and then they just beat it with the next episode, and it just keeps getting better and better. I'm gonna have to invest in some Kleenex because I will be crying my eyes out.
Well,
Any
next week
final-
they're gonna make it to Wyoming.
Are they? Are we finally making it to Wyoming, Brian? Is that what's
Seemed
happening?
like it because they found Billy in the preview, right?
Billy?
Billy?
Isn't that his name? What? Tommy.
It's Billy.
Tommy.
Billy.
Sorry.
Little Billy. We found little Billy.
I knew it was some hickey type name. Billy Tommy.
Well,
Yeah.
any final thoughts on this absolutely heart-wrenching episode 5 of The Last of Us? Final thoughts.
For that kid, for Henry never shooting someone. He shot Sam pretty. Hey,
He had pretty good aim.
Pretty good aim, yeah.
For
He should
shooting
have been the
a
one
little
at the tower of that building. Jeez, Kathleen. Choosing wrong people.
kid. Kathleen picked the wrong person.
Yeah, choices, Kathleen. Choices.
Yeah. Whatever. But I'm excited. We've got what? 3 more?
4 more.
No,
4
4.
more.
Oh, good. Okay. Oh, good. 4 more episodes.
And then it's Star Wars season. Well, actually, that's
Yay.
coming soon.
And it's Star Wars season.
And it'll never end.
Never ever. Never ever.
No.
Damon's final thoughts?
Loved it.
Loved this episode. I can't wait to see where they go with the rest of this season and like how they end this season and how they set up a second season, because that second game is
Can the
hot
second
fire.
game be milked out to 2 seasons?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's
so.
gonna have to be.
I think it should be.
It's a longer game by far.
Rad.
Okay. So like number 1, it can definitely just be the first game, and then okay. Because to me, I have a hard time imagining that they can wrap up the whole entire game in 1 season. But I mean,
I think they can do it. I've been kind of mentally trying to figure out what the roadmap will be after every episode, and I think they can do it just fine.
Yeah.
bring it on.
So hyped. So I'm so excited that we're gonna be getting more seasons of this because it's gorgeous, it's amazing, it's emotional, it's heart-wrenching. I could go on, which is why we have this show Tuesdays, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Make sure to tune in for all of our recaps. Gotta go around the horn. Alex Damon, where can the good people find you?
We're at Star Wars Explained on YouTube, and tomorrow we're going to be doing our Bad Batch after show, The Clone Zone, with someone. Someone's on it. Who's on that?
Oh shit! I keep forgetting about that. I hope I remember.
I'm okay. Brian,
You know
you're
what?
on it
No.
tomorrow.
You know what? No, it's just gonna be us.
It
They
might
don't
be.
care.
It might be.
It might
It
just
might
be you
be.
guys.
Yeah.
We're starting later than normal. We're starting at 7 Eastern instead of 6 Eastern because of the time difference. So
Yeah, some of us have to work.
They were
Fun,
generous.
unfun jobs.
Yeah, they have to work unfun jobs. They have to teach the children of tomorrow. Well, it's
I
Molly
hope
David.
that's not the case.
Molly, where can the good people find you?
same as what he said, but you can find me on Twitter at Molly Damon, Instagram Molly Mander, and here talking about everything but Star Wars
Yes. Yes. Brian.
and a little Star Wars.
And
I was gonna say,
always.
didn't we
Always
talk
gotta
about
throw it
Star
in
Wars
there.
yesterday? No.
Always.
Be of Alcino on Twitter and Instagram. You can join my book cult on Goodreads. Apocalypse Movies. We're doing our live show in like 50 minutes. So feel free to jump on over there in 50 minutes. Eat dinner like the 4 of us are about to do first.
Yeah.
But yeah.
My name is Jillian Marie. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, Jilly Marie, 2 Y's, 2 E's. If y'all liked our little Spill the Tea segment on our main POV show, make sure to check Molly and I out on Happy Hour with Jill and Molly. We do have our date booked for this month's Happy Hour. It is Valentine's Day month. Y'all know what that means. We will talk about it on more of this coming up Sunday episode, but it's going to be a fun one. He may or may not be there. You never know.
Go check out last year's February
Last year's
Happy
was
Hour.
fun.
Go check out last year's February Happy Hour. This year I'm sure will be just as fun and chaotic.
I need to get to work.
You need to get to work. You got some ish to write. There's your last ish of the episode, Alex. This has been the Last of Us recap with POV. Make sure to bring your tissues for the next one because I'm sure we're gonna probably cry some more. Yay!
Yeah.
Thanks, writers.
Bodies will be dropping like flies next week.
Bodies dropping everywhere. We'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.
Bye.